Well, good morning, greetings and salutations. This is a glorious Friday. I want to take this opportunity to welcome Miss Soto, who is your gift for this today's activity because she brings so much sunshine and bubbliness to life that it is a must meet situation. So thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. I think it's one of my like beloved, he's just like, you giggle all the time. And I'm like, yeah, and after I read that children have like over 300 belly laughs a day and adults only have like 15, maybe 20 at the most. Even my first husband, who's passed on in 2020, he said, at this rate, Rocky, you're never going to die. I was like,
Wow.
I
So
was
I
like,
did
yeah.
not I did not know your nickname was Rocky. I'm going to be going, "Hey Rock," you know, from now on. So tell us a little bit more about you. Please share with us what's going on in January. You have this 21-day challenge that's going on, and I know it's important and near and dear to your heart, so please explain.
Yeah, so this challenge is really birthed out of something I believe in God's heart, and it was around creating the right blueprint. So it's called the Creative Blueprint. It's 21 days, and 21 days, sometimes people are like, oh, that creates a habit. It doesn't. It creates momentum. And the thing with 21 days, if you're doing something very small and incremental changes, it starts to then build these beautiful neural pathways in your incredible brain. And so what that does eventually is that it goes into your long-term memory. And the reason that's important is because when things happen, your brain will offer you a thought. It's just an offer, but your brain is your incredible helper. It's always checking in every 10 seconds with the voice of your mind, which is the voice of your mindset. And so it'll just offer you what you've been thinking in the last 30 days, 60 days, over and over again. What have you been rewiring through your focus? It's not going to go back very far because it has too many things to do. So it's incredibly powerful and a bit lazy. So it's just like, I'll offer you a thought. So if you have these thoughts that you've been thinking doom and gloom, feeding yourself a lot of the news, fake news, false narratives, we all have our own fake news and false narratives on top of that too. It's going to offer that to you. So what this does is that it's really helping you over 21 days create the blueprint through, neuroscience, emotional regulation, biblical principles, and then using things like your imagination, how God says to use meditation and your imagination, all those things that he's already given you to really redefine your reality. He has given us so much autonomy to do that. But people don't know how to leverage how they're beautifully and wonderfully made. So that's the focus over 21 days.
So what would be the ideal person to sign up for? Is there a magic avatar, the perfect person to sign in?
Well, I have almost 20 people in, and so they're all people who are high achievers, who want faster results, who do, have an affinity and love for God there because, it's hard for you to take somebody's advice if you don't even respect them so or love them, who do like the things about neuroscience. And it's like, okay, how is it that my brain actually works? So if you're a high achiever and you want faster results, then this is a very supportive community for you to come and join us. So there's 3 different tiers where you can come in. You can do it for free, and you'll see the podcast come out on YouTube, Spotify, and Audible. But if you sign up for the free tier on the page, then I will be giving you like free things to help you embody the lessons. But if you want to join the support group where I do more support, there's more workbooks, there's a community there, we chat, we encourage each other, and there's other coaching and we meet live, you can do that. And I call that the manifestation lab. And then if you want to do like everything, then you would just join us in the society and you get access to thousands of dollars worth of resources in the suite. So I didn't want to just make it paid because my thing is I don't want to leave anybody behind. If you don't know me, you might like, oh, that sounds really interesting. Well, I don't know if I want to pay you anything. I don't care if it is $37. But this is a way, like, if you don't know me, come in, come and taste it. It's good. And then you can always upgrade. Or sometimes people don't have the money. They really don't. They're so stretched out. I'm like, I don't want money to be a barrier. So I was like, okay, what can I do? Well, it's already free on those platforms, but I knew that people would need additional coaching And so if you sign up for the free component, I'll send you the links so you can go and get it, but then you'll get the other things to help you embody it. Because if you don't, information without implementation is nothing. You're not going to get what the intention is. So I even have some things for the free people who are coming in that tier.
Okay, so you said a lot in that package. So I think it's important for people to understand that they, even if they don't identify themselves as successful, but they want to be successful, this is something for them to join as well because they want to break out of that rut. So what do you have to say to those people who don't know? They want to dip their big toe in. How would they get in touch with you and say, "Hey, I might want to be in it, but I want to try it before I buy it."
Yeah. So I will give you the link to it, but it's a very long link. So
Okay.
do it. So I will give you the link so you can go ahead and put it in the show notes and in the description. But that would be like the best way to do that because that's why I'm like, okay, come in, get what you need, at least in the free tier, because that way you can get going. And even if you're like, okay, well, by the time you watch this, maybe we're 7 days in, 8 days in, it doesn't matter. You can come in when you come in, when you're seeing this is when you're meant to see it, and just jump in. A lot of times people, when they're, where we're doing this in January of 2025 and people do New Year's resolutions, a lot of times it doesn't work, or they're doing vision boards and it doesn't work because they don't know how to set it up that is really in conjunction with how they're beautifully, wonderfully made. So I use a lot of different things, including like personality gift clusters, and show you like how to find that for yourself, those self-assessments, so you can leverage it. Everybody has these unique things that God has put in them. But if you're not even self-aware of those things, I mean, your personality is also a gift. When we come to our King, he doesn't give us a personality replacement. He leaves us kind of intact for a long period of time. And so our personality is also part of our gifting. It's part of our gift package. And the more we understand how we are wired to succeed, then we can leverage that part of us that God has already placed in us. Everything we need, we already have, as in seed form. And some of us are gifted where it's more mature, even at birth. But a lot of us, it's just like a diamond. You're going to have to do some work in order for it to be polished. And that's part of it too. It's like understanding all those things. And I purposely make it very short because people are busy, or they say they're busy. And so because they're saying they're busy, then their life becomes busy. And so all these lessons are built on each other. So that way they can take it, they have one thing to do or a couple things, and they can just run with it. It's not going to take that much time, but you're going to see results because of that compound effect.
Wow. Okay. So if there was one life lesson or a bit of encouragement you could give someone who is thinking about it or sort of thinking about it, what would you say to them?
Everything you want is in the gift of someone else, starting with yourself. And so this is a way for you to redefine the reality. You are not stuck. You are not trapped by your circumstances. You are not even trapped by your genetics. When I was growing up, we thought that we were actually trapped by how we were born in our genetics. And now we're finding out that genetics, that's not true. We can actually rewrite the codes. We can turn things on, turn it off. And so we are not trapped by anything. God has actually made us free. And this is just a way for you to activate and flow in that freedom that God has already provided for us. Sometimes we're asking God for things, but we're asking for a seat we're already sitting in. So if you've been like in this loop, or maybe you keep on hitting a wall, or you find yourself in the same cycles, or, you really want to make 2025 different than and better than 2024 and go into that flow, then this is for you.
That's great advice. The key thing to pull out is if you want difference, a change has to be made. And the first step is to agree to try a change. Um, Now, before we do any parting thoughts, right? I just wanted to ask, how has God inspired you to help others? And is it this feeling of joy that is ever so abundant in January, Joy Month for you? Is that how it is? Please share.
It's just I've been really privileged that since he called me to retire from my corporate job in 2019 to get to know him better. And even in the last year, it was a whole 2024 was about a reset and really coming back to him in a way that was a deeper relationship. And so he's like, that was part of my framework. Part of my framework for my job that I do for him is, I spend a few hours in the morning. That's like my first thing. It's like 2 to 3 hours. People are like, wow, you spend a lot of time there. I'm like, yeah, the time kind of like just goes by fast because you're with somebody that you love hanging out with. And in that relationship, right? It's like when you get in the presence of God, it's like you can't help but be creative or innovative or have a good time. And that is really what inspires me. So one of the things that he brought back to me during this period is that when my first husband and I met, um, I was a singer in the band. And so we went to the same church. They were forming a band. They were looking for a singer because they want to do things outside the church. But then, so I auditioned, I had a song and I was like, well, I don't know how to sing. And they're like, come and sing it anyway. So then I started singing and then the musicians were looking at each other like, girl, you can sing this. So they were giving me different genres to sing. And that's the kind of voice they were looking for, somebody that can sing different genres. And so that's how we ended up spending so much time together. But I really enjoyed that time. And I knew that there was things that God wanted to do through music back then in my 20s. And then life happens. And then I started feeling like I really wanted to create music again. It was like he was breathing that back into me. My assignment right now for the body of Christ is to remind them that words matter because they become matter. And he was telling me that for months. And then he was unfolding it as bringing me back to neuroscience. He's like, yeah, it first become neural pathways. And then they become like, your thought clusters and then your emotions and then your actions. And that's how you're getting the results. So it's really training people again, how to speak is my call in this moment. And with that, it was just like, we're going to start doing music again. So I started hearing music in my head and hearing the lyrics. And I'm like, oh, I don't know how to write music. I'm not a musician. I don't know how to play an instrument yet. And then found some things online that I can kind of mesh my thoughts. So technology caught up with the things that I've been wanting to do for like over 20 years. And then it was just like, bam, inspiration. And I had like 20 songs and put like 15 out on YouTube. And they're all different. So they're like different topics. And many of them they're made to be really Christian meditations. So that's one of the things that we are told to renew our minds every single day, right? Joshua 1:8 is to meditate on God's word day and night. But how can we do that? Music is so powerful because it really lowers our, firewalls. And before we know it, we're singing it and we're bopping to it. But what I recognize is like so many lyrics, even some Christian songs, are not biblical, or they're talking about lifestyles that I don't want to live or situations that I don't want in my life. And I know the power of that incremental listening to things over and over again. And so now I'm creating songs to help people to rewire their brain by really focusing on words that they can really embody.
And suffice it to say, ladies and gentlemen, the key thing to pull out of that is words matter. Bottom line. You know, I'm going to ask everyone to look up Psalm 40 verses 1 through 14 to give you inspiration. It's your homework today, but I want to thank, thank Miss Soto for just bringing the sunshine to every day and being an inspiration to so many people. It's been a sheer pleasure to spend this slice of heaven with you. So everybody take care. I really appreciate the opportunity to come across to you and utilize her services and her skill sets because they're God inspired and they're going to make a difference in your life. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.